So we'll get started. The time is 1:05. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the workshop for the FY 2026 Projects, Events, and Festivals Grant. My name is Tanya Myers, and I am your grant manager if you are an individual and applying to this grant. Next slide, Lucy. First we want to do land acknowledgement, recognizing the Nakachunk and Piscataway people, the first residents of the land that would become the District of Columbia. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. We stand in the ancestral lands of the Nakachunk and the Piscataway people. We pay respects to their elders past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that brings us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events, and to use such truths to guide the legacy of the Arts Commission. All right, so the mission of the DC Commission on Arts and Humanities, we were first established in 1968. DCAH, as you all refer to us as, is an independent agency of the District of Columbia government that evaluates and initiates action on matters relating to the arts and humanities and encourages programs and the development of programs that promote progress in the arts and humanities. CAH is designated state arts agency for the District of Columbia and is supported primarily through the district government funds and in part by the National Endowment for the Arts. So to get started, just want to let you all know that the chat is open. We will be covering a lot of information today, but if you have an urgent question that you want to get off your chest, feel free to use the chat function. We have some colleagues of ours in the chat. These are just some examples of some questions that you may have: the submission deadline, the process for uploading and labeling works as samples. Again, we will review this information. So next slide. So just a program overview for PEF. It is to support executing projects that promote arts and humanities activities to a diverse range of communities in DC. PEF also encourages small, medium, and large projects to have a citywide impact, as well as all those that represent community-based projects that are based on geographic location, common interests, or shared identity, for example. Projects may include concerts, visual arts exhibitions, literary readings, and festivals that feature dance, folk art, film, music, theater, and other arts and humanities activities. So the goals of the PEF program is to provide access to high quality arts and humanities experiences for all District of Columbia residents, increase the quality of life by supporting a vibrant community identity through the arts and humanities, and stimulate the creative economy through investments in local arts, artists, and humanities organizations. All right, so just want to call out, some of you all may be here and have applied in the past. Just want to call out what may be different. So we added a request for the date of your planned performance, event, and festival. Next slide. All right, so please refer to the RFA for a complete listing, but we did want to break down some requirements for this grant. Organizations awarded funds in the CAH FY25 GOS, known as General Operating Support Grant, are prohibited from applying to the CAH PEF grant. Applicants are prohibited from submitting applications for projects that feature temporary or permanent public art. Applicants are prohibited from submitting applications for projects that provide activities for children or youth. Eligible projects by individuals or projects that work independently of the applicant's affiliated organization. If funded, all applicants are required to purchase liability insurance within 30 days of the award notification. Obtain a certification of citywide clean hands. Proposed planning and implementation fully carried out in the District of Columbia. Next slide, please. Okay, so some unallowable costs include overhead maintenance and admin fees or costs that exceed 35% of the grant, food and beverage, payment to auxiliary and or affiliate organizations, tuition, awards, and scholarships, re-granting, also known as sub-granting, debt reduction, fundraising project expenses, equipment purchases over 25% of the grant award, expenses not directly related to the project, operational reserve, temporary or permanent public arts projects, activities for youth, and funding to universities, foreign governments, or DC government agencies, including DCPS. And we will open it up for any immediate questions that you all may have.
Hello, my name is Adrian Garcia. I go by AGG. I just want to make sure that just a few. I apologize. Do you mind kind of going back on the prohibited slide? I think it was the one right before this one,
Yeah.
just so I could
The
refer to it.
unallowable cost slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Can you just go back one more because I have two questions? If it's okay. For the GOS grant, that's the specific, only that specific grant.
Correct.
Cool. Okay. So if you received funding for another grant from DC Arts and Humanities, like we're cool to still apply. It's just that specific grant.
Correct.
Cool. Awesome. Do you mind forwarding just one more slide?
For the unallowable costs?
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you. I appreciate you, Tanya. And whoever's managing the PowerPoint, thank you. So the exceeding cost, so like if let's say the grant was like for $2,000, like 25% of that grant, 24% of the grant could be used to purchase equipment, or you could still purchase equipment, it just has to be lower
Yes,
than the full amount.
Under that threshold, correct.
Okay. And then for the liability insurance, do you all have like recommendations on like who to reach out for that?
No,
Okay.
there's tons of options as far as insurance is concerned. So we just recommend that you reach out to 2 or 3, and all we would need at this point with your application is a quote.
Okay. And then last question, I'm so sorry for taking up so much space. But for the dates, is it like, does it have to happen within a certain time frame?
Yes, for this grant, the grant period is October 2025 through September 2026. So that is the FY26 grant period. And that's the period in which your project, event, or festival must take place.
Thank you so much, Tanya. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Tanya. Sorry to
Hello.
get into the question right away. Well, I have a question. For example, I know the grant for individual will be 10,000, but you, when I was filling out the form, it asked for like report of all the expenses and all the earning of the event. If I put expenses, has to be only for the how much is going to be used in 10,000, or has to be in general how much I spent in all the project?
It would be for the amount you're requesting.
Okay, perfect. So I don't have to put all the extra that is the event.
Yes,
Correct.
not the entire event, only for the amount that you're requesting and how you would use that.
Was taking, time to put so much stuff. Thank you so much. Okay.
You're welcome.
I had a question. Hi, my name's Joanna. Thank you for doing this. I see some comments in the chat about this as well. Could you clarify, because under eligible projects for these grants, it says arts education is included. But then I noticed again that, and you've gone over this and it was in the website as well, that projects that provide activities for children and youth are not eligible. Could you kind of explain that to me? That seems like a disconnect. Could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so the main, the recipients of this grant, like if you're working primarily with children, you would need to either go for an arts education grant or a fellowship grant, and they come out at a later date and time.
So could you talk about then some of the activities or grants that would be potentially accepted under the umbrella of arts education?
Robbie, can you?
May you repeat that? I was answering the questions in the chat.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
May you repeat the question?
Yes, her question was, can you please elaborate on what would qualify as an example of a performance festival or event for arts education? Because the language on the grant is confusing, since for this PEF grant, activities for youth are unallowable costs.
Yeah, so the main reason why if the project is solely for children or youth, like that's the target audience and that's what it's for, is because we have a program, the Arts and Humanities Education Project, that you could apply for. Which, side note, if you do have a project for that, definitely something to think about as well. However, if it's multi-generation, so if yes, youth, children are involved, but you also have adults, older adults, anything of that combination, that would be fine. You just have to make sure that you specify that in the application, just so that you avoid any kind of confusion with the panelists. Does that help a little?
Yes,
So-
thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, if it's a project that would educate adults and youth, it would be allowed?
Yeah, because the target is not just children or youth, it's multi-generation.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, we have a few from that have their hand raised. Elizabeth Cutler, do you still have a question?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm here on behalf of a small nonprofit that we are interested in applying for both the general operating fund grant as well as the PEF grant. But I think on the previous slide, it said something about you can't get the PEF if you're already getting the general operating, but the deadlines are both on April 22nd. So I was wondering what your guidance is for how we should navigate that, or if it's acceptable to apply for both with the understanding that we wouldn't be able to receive both. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm
Yes.
not myself.
No, you are correct. So
Okay.
my guidance would be what you said last, which would be that I would suggest to applying for both, but with the understanding that you if you are awarded both, you would have to pick and choose which one you want, depending on exactly what it is that you need. Because sometimes you might pick GOS over PEF, or sometimes you might pick PEF over GOS.
Oh, so there is a possibility that an organization could be awarded both, kind of like with an asterisk, almost of like then we, the organization, respond with which avenue we're going to take.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Lisa Allen, do you have a question still?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much. So individuals can apply for this, right? This grant opportunity. I just want to
Yes.
clarify. Okay. And we would still need to get the liability insurance too.
Correct.
Okay. And so do you also have a list of things that we can use the money, like allowable expenses? Is that coming up to like venue,
It's
rent?
everything that isn't listed here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So venue for sure.
Okay, so it's like kind of supporting an event because, for example, I want to do like a tea ceremony event and so, you know, part of that is buying like the matcha, but then I would imagine that falls under food and beverage, or is that different? Okay, so then, but then I would purchase that myself and then the other stuff I could use for the
Correct.
event. Okay, great. Got it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We still have only two more. So Judy Smith, did you still have a question?
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. My question is, can you tell me, I'm going to apply for to do a project, but the project also encompasses the part of the humanities. I'm wondering, can I apply for the first project? And because we need to get the narratives from people, I probably need to apply for the humanities, or can I do that humanities grant within that other grant, within the arts?
Are you asking if you can apply to another CAH grant, like the fellowship grant? Or are you asking, can you apply for projects, events, and festivals as an individual with the focus on a humanities project?
No, not as an individual. I'm talking about the organization. It's a play production, and I'm actually getting the narratives. I know I just missed the humanities grant. I don't know when it's coming out again, but if I go after arts and humanities for everything but the but the humanities grant, can I come back and get that? Am I making sense?
So when the fellowship grant opens up again, you can apply as an individual for that specific grant.
Okay, but I can go after this one and doing under the festivals, the activities.
Yes.
I can go after that first, and then can you tell me when the humanities grant is going to come out?
So it should come out sometime in the summer.
In the summer. Okay, that would be perfect. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, I have we can answer one more before we go to the next thing. If you keep your hands up for the next portion, I can we can answer your question, or you can put it in the chat as well. And somebody else we have multiple people here also who are trying to answer questions, and they should be able to answer your questions in the chat as well. But I have David, the O Oliver. Do you have a question?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. My question is this. I saw that I want to bring back a parade. We used to do the DC Funk Parade, right? So that's a concept. But I was wondering, because I saw in the initial invitation, it was asking people from both Maryland and Virginia to come to this meeting. So is it safe to say if I get artists from the entire region to be involved, is that okay? Or they just have to be DC-based artists?
Are you applying for the grant as an individual or as an organization?
It'll be an organization that I'll be working with.
Is
That's
your
in DC.
organization based in DC?
Yes, they're based in DC.
Okay, so like you are able to get artists who aren't from DC. It will just be more within your application of how you're going to be advocating, because there is a question there that talks about the district impact.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just be you advocating in that specific part, like how that would benefit DC, having Maryland and Virginia artists there as well.
Okay, I just want to make sure because again, I saw the invite was extended to both Maryland and Virginia folks. So I was telling them to come check it out, see if it can relate to your area. If not, I'll do DC, then we'll apply somewhere else in Maryland for Maryland to get their shine as well as Virginia.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now moving on with the slides, Tanya. Is it my turn? I can't remember.
So I could keep going. So logging into the portal. So we're gonna go over more detailed technical details on how to actually apply. So Lucy, if you could move forward to the next slide. So if we go to our dcarts.dc.gov and go to the programs area, And drop down, you go to see grants, and you click on that. Next slide. And from here, you'll click on the bottom where it says grant application portal. All of the application lives in our grant portal. Next slide. So once here, you sign into the CAH grant portal and sign into your account, or you create a new account. Oh, I think you skipped over. There we go. Okay, so you either sign into your current account or create an account by clicking the sign up today or log in. Next slide. And then from here, you would go to open, my open applications. Next slide. And from here, you would start a new application. Next slide. And then we just wanted to call out. So what you want to do is when you get to this portion, just read through and complete the eligibility questionnaire. And then from there, you would go save and continue. So rather than compose your application responses in the grant portal, we suggest that you download, print the Word version of the application questions. This just gives you the opportunity to go back and forth, and it just makes it for a cleaner application. So then you would use this to compose your answers offline. And when completed, you could copy and paste your application text into the grant portal itself. Next slide. All right, and then Lucy, you take it from here.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Okay, I see that there's two people with their hands up. James Zimmerman, do you still have a
Right.
question?
I put my question in the chat because it was mentioned earlier that we have to provide specific dates. Is that specific dates at the time of the application, or when do they have to be provided? That appears to be a different change.
Yes, so we're requesting at the time of the application, that's one of the new questions that we ask. And it does not have to be a specific date, and we understand that dates may change. So we would just like a general, like maybe you could put a month, like November 2025, we anticipate having this event. Or if you do have a specific date already, putting that, but we understand that that changes. It's just more so to help us when your application is approved and you are approved for a grant, then we could follow up with you on when that event happens. Maybe we could stop by and check it out, but we know that that isn't a concrete. But yes, we ask it at the time of the application.
Okay, it seems that that's, as you said, it's new. It's old, but it's new because you used to have to do that. So I think, okay, thank you.
Okay, and AGG, do you still have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I came with a lot of questions today, Lucy.
It is
No,
long.
but for the so it's like a 1 day event, or could it be like a build up to that 1 day event?
So it can be both. So I know for some proposals it's a 1 day event. Another one, it's like more of a project, but it is like 3 separate days that they're doing said project.
Mhm. Cool. Okay. And then I was looking at the like the list of like documents that are required. So we have to have the liability insurance before we apply.
We require that you provide us with a quote.
A quote? Okay, cool. And then the last thing is, what's the statement of certification?
We're gonna go into
Okay.
that in a few more slides.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I see. Oh my God, it keeps going over. Okay, I see that if I'm mispronouncing it, I'm really sorry, but Fairwoys.
Feiruz Foti. Thank you.
Fairuz. I'm so sorry. I already knew I was gonna mispronounce it.
No worries. Thank you so much for doing this. Every time I come, it's so informative and so helpful. So thank you all for making time to do this for all of us. My question is in relation to, so I'm the executive director of Quarter Tones Foundation, but I'm also an independent artist. So what I'm interested in doing is applying for this grant as an individual for one of my projects, but additionally applying for an organizational grant as well. Is that a possibility, or do I have to the organizational grant will of course be through the foundation, but I was also going to apply as an individual. Is that a possibility or is that not allowed?
So are you applying for project events and festivals both as an individual and as an organization? Is that what you're
Yeah,
asking?
yeah,
Or
but
is
for yes, but for two different projects. So for two different projects, one would be under the foundation, and then the individual one is not part of the foundation at all. It's not part of the our performance season or anything.
Robert, if you are there, I assume that the answer is yes, that you should be able to, but maybe you
Is
can
it
provide further
is
clarification.
is with Peru's?
Yes, hi,
Oh yeah.
Robert, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm on you. I answered a little. Trying to catch up with all the questions in the chat. So yeah, so the big thing is, especially coming as an individual, the project that you're wanting to do has to be like your own project and not part of the programming of the organization.
Yes,
So as
okay.
long as they're separate, then that is, as the kids would say, Gucci.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you answering my question. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Judy, last person before we move forward, what is your
Oh,
question?
okay. Question. Hmm. Am I muted? Nope. Wait a minute.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yes. The question is, I was looking. Are you going to put out a separate grant for Arts All Night? Because it's within the time period, it falls within the time period of this particular grant now that you have out.
From my understanding is that we don't do any grants for Arts All Night, but if you apply for a project that like
For Arts All Night is what you're saying.
that also wouldn't be you Robert, can you answer this question as well?
Yeah, so to my knowledge, I don't think we like quote unquote have the grants kind of application for Auto Night. I know we did a thing with them or like we partnered. But yeah, that I don't fully know. But I know like for an application with the system that we use, we don't have that.
I didn't hear you.
I was saying that technically like how we would apply for these programs, I don't think we have an application of that sort. I know we worked with them, like we did something at our space this past year, but I don't know if there's any like
Okay, so funding for that particular event does not come through Arts and Humanities?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Also,
I
like,
thought I saw it on, no, but I thought I saw it on the website. I thought it was coming from Arts and Humanities. That's why I'm asking the question. So let me ask this then. Money from this specific grant that's out right now to do an activity, I can use it to do Arts All Night? Falls within the time period.
This grant does not fall into that time period. I mean, it would for FY, it would fall into that for 2026 because my
Right,
understanding
for
is
2020, this funding is for 2026.
2026. Yes.
Right.
So it wouldn't work for this summer's Art All Night, but the following, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just want to be clear before I start writing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so moving on to again, just want to reiterate that the application closes April 22nd at 10 p.m. Okay. So now I will begin talking. So I'm just going to go a little bit over the application review and scoring. Applications will be reviewed and scored by a panel of arts and administrative professionals according to this criteria, each representing a percentage of the total score. So for arts, humanities, and content or merit, it's 40% of the application. Organizational and project management is 30%. District impact and evaluation is 15%, and idea is 15%. For the scoring criteria is for the arts, humanities, and content and or merit is applicants' work samples and support materials, brochures, articles, letters of support, etc., demonstrate their knowledge of and skills in the content area. The applicant demonstrates the use of personnel with subject matter expertise, such as arts administrators, humanities professionals, teaching artists, educators, professional artists, to plan and implement the project content. For organizational project management is the applicant demonstrates the appropriate oversight, financial controls, and governance to deliver its services and programming. The applicant has the necessary expertise and personnel in place to deliver its services and programming. For district impact and evaluation is the project demonstrates the ability to reach a reasonable number of district residents and or visitors. The applicant demonstrates a commitment to hiring DC-based artists and humanities professionals where applicable to deliver arts and or humanities content. The applicant includes evaluation strategies that will measure both project impact and effectiveness and participant engagement. And then going into IDEA is the project demonstrates an experience that is inclusive and diverse, either through project content or the personnel involved in delivering the project. The project design demonstrates a commitment to engage all participants in ensuring equity and access, considering factors such as cultural, socioeconomic, geographical, physical, and intellectual ability, etc. The applicant outlines a plan for current and or future adjustments to the project based on the evolving needs of the community and or how this project supports the applicant's overall evolving goals. So going a little bit over so we have a little bit of writing tips for the application, which is keep a copy of the scoring criteria nearby when writing and write to the criteria. So please avoid using buzzwords and hyperbole. If claims are made in the application, back them up with support materials and work samples. Ask someone outside of the organization, or if you're individual, or yourself, to read the narrative responses and to give you feedback. Give a complete picture of your organization or your project or yourself and its work. Use accurate data in your application when available and where appropriate. So do we have any questions on the scoring criteria or anything else? So I see that we have one hand up. Jesse, do you still have a question?
Hi, yeah, thank you. Not necessarily about what you just covered, and sorry if I missed this, but does the grant funds cover the cost for obtaining DDOT permits, like a block party permit or a special events road closure?
It should.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Anyone have their hand up? Okay, Robinson?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hi. So this is my second time doing this. The question is that I'm a recording artist, but I hold my own events at different venues. I got denied the last time I filled out a grant, and I think it's because I did it underneath organization and not individual. So doing this, holding the project, filming, and performing arts. As an individual, do I apply for projects, festivals, and events as an individual, and does that cover what I'm looking to do? performing arts, so forth and so on.
Yes, it sounds like the what you're trying to do is under this umbrella as an individual for sure. If it's a performance or an event, it sounds like it is.
Okay, and the budget is 10,000, and that is to cover what the expenses towards the projects, as far as hiring videographers, editors, engineers, so forth and so on.
Yes, that is something that you could put in your budget request. Just take note of the unallowable costs that the folks that you're mentioning, like paying for overhead, and it cannot exceed certain thresholds. So it was, I believe, 25% for admin. So that would fall under that. So 25%. So you could do 24%, or was it 35%? I can't remember off the top of my head. Sorry.
Okay. October of this year and September of next year.
Yes, that's correct.
No matter how many projects I do, as long as it's within that budget.
Well, it needs to be the project, the grant money needs to be, if you are approved for the grant, it needs to, all the money needs to go to that project that you specified and that you were approved for by the grant panel.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for answering my question.
You're welcome. No problem.
Okay, it seems like there are no other questions. Moving forward, again, I just keep on reiterating that the application closes April 22nd at 10 p.m. It's very important. Okay, so then going off of, okay, so for documents of all kinds, please save and upload in a PDF file format. So PEF uploads to support your narrative. So support materials, it can be up to 3 internal produced items. So an example of this is curricula, strategic plans, marketing materials. You can also do up to 3 external produced items. So reviews, testimonials, letters of support. For work samples, please see the work sample addendum in the RFA to determine materials that might best support your application. So for work sample content, panelists review only the 4 corners of the application. They are not expected to click on outside links or content. A linked website may not be seen by the reviewers. Website, online articles, social media posts can be screenshotted and attached as an image, but is often an insufficient work sample. Please submit a website only if it is an essential part of the project. So there are 2 steps. There's a 2-step process for media uploads for work samples and the support material. So the first step would be you would directly upload it to, the direct uploads would be directly to the media library. And the type of support materials that they allow is YouTube videos, Vimeo videos, MP4 videos. The photos have to be JPEG or JPG, and the documents should be PDF. And then after you directly upload it to the media library, within the grants portal, you attach it to the application from the media library. Just to give an example, so for direct upload, so you will put in the title of your work. This is a great place to put time codes or passwords. You link it so you can link it directly from YouTube or Vimeo, and please check that your recording isn't secret or private. Since if it is private, the likelihood of it is that we won't be able to see it. I would recommend, if you have a YouTube, to log out of your YouTube and then try to click the link just to make sure. And then attaching it to the application, you will scroll down to where it says Media Finder, and then you will see where it says Attach Media from Library. And after you add the materials to the media library, you will need to attach them to the application. This will be a pop-up window. Click on the items you want to attach to your application. For images, and they will not view in the order you attach. They will be viewed alphabetically. So if this matters for your for demonstration purposes, but please you can contact either me or Tony, and we can try to work around it. Please double check your uploads. Go to the media viewer on the CAH application portal. Make sure that you are able to view them. Some grant manager tips. So review panelists are required to review each application's work samples. However, they're not guaranteed to view work samples beyond the recommended number. Clearly name, label, or describe work samples and document so that panelists can identify what they are reviewing. Give reviewers the information they need to best understand your work sample or support material. Include samples of similar projects completed to illustrate an ability to execute the proposed project. For video submissions, audio files only play from start to finish. Panelists are not able to scan, rewind, or skip through uploaded audio files. For best results, edit the audio clip to review exactly what you want the panelists to review. You can use the video options for audio files. The Vimeo and YouTube comes with much more viewing flexibility. For audio submissions with visual components, consider submitting it as a video clip instead. Screenshot, screen capture for online content. There are keyboard shortcuts on PC, Macs, and Chromebooks for taking a screenshot. Save the screenshot as a PDF or JPEG. The Snip and Sketch app is another option for capturing online content. Download any online reviews, articles, or programs and save it as a PDF. Okay. Do we have any questions before we go into the breakout rooms? Specifically, I don't just to reiterate, I am Lisa Hernandez and I'm the grants manager for organizations, and Tanya Myers is the grants manager for individuals. Okay. So Freya, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm also a grantee of the fellowship program, and I just wanted to make sure that I can apply for this grant too, and also if it's okay to reuse some of the same work samples or support materials that I used in previous applications or that I might use again for the next grant applications.
Hi, yes, for individuals. Hi, I'm your manager.
Hi.
Yes, you can apply to both interdisciplinary or fellowship grants and the PEF grant. You can feel free to use similar media uploads as long as you think it works for this application. One thing you cannot do is submit and I guess double dip and use whatever project you were awarded for the fellowship and try to apply for PEF using that same event.
Okay,
if that makes
great.
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the same kind of work samples or like letters of recommendation and stuff like that would be okay to reuse again.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the next person that I have raise your hand is Robinson again.
Yes, hi. So is I'm okay, I'm an entrepreneur. I have multitudes of different skills and creative arts. My main thing I want to focus on is fashion, and does the grant help with that type of project as well?
Yes, fashion is an art form that we support.
Awesome. What about if it's overseas? Like if I have to get all the bulk items from overseas shipping, is that okay too? Does it matter?
If your supplies come
budget.
from, yes, as long as they don't go beyond the threshold of, I believe it was 35% of the awarded grant.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much.
Okay. Kendall, do you still have a question?
Yes, I have a question, but I think in terms of sake of time, I can ask it in the breakout session because it's more of an individual question. So I'll let others go and I'll ask my question there.
And David, do you still have your question?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry. Basically, this goes back to, I think Freya just asked a very good question, because years ago I got approved for one grant through you all, and then I applied for another one, right? And then I was told, because of my level in my career, that the project look was more about my career than it was for the community. And so my question is, do the people need to be, is it okay if the people are professional, like they're national artists or actors who've done things on a national scale? Because what I want to do with the project is celebrate the people who are from DC, who I see when I go to New York and LA, but we don't get no love here. So one of the things I want to do is do a project where they can get the love in their own hometown so people know that they're here. So really, is it about professionals or amateurs, or can we have both, is my question.
Yeah, I don't think it's, we welcome all artists,
Okay.
professionals, or, you know, people who are new to the art scene. It's more about how do you present your work to the panelists, and just referring back to the criteria and writing to the criteria. So whether you did work internationally, just be sure that I know there's there's a focus on district and the impact that this project, event, or festival would have on DC itself. So I think it's just more about highlighting the benefits of the specific project, event, or festival, and how that would benefit DC residents.
Gotcha, because one of the things I wanted to showcase was that how New York and LA is right here in our own backyard. And that's one of the things I was trying to showcase the last time, but I believe this time I can get that better. Thank you.
Great, yeah, no problem. Thank you. All right, are we ready to break out? Maybe have folks raise their hand if they are an individual and they're coming along with me. That includes you, Kendall. Your question, I'll be happy to answer that. So if you could raise your hand if you're an individual.
Question. I can't raise my hand because I don't have an emoji. This is Roderick Turner.
Hello,
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I don't see
you,
my emoji down at the bottom.
Are
It's
you
not showing.
individual, Roger?
Yes, I am an individual.
Okay, noted. We got you. Thank you.
Okay. So I don't mean
Tanya,
to
I'm
jump in.
an individual too. Can you let me in there? I don't have a hand raised thing on mine.
Who's speaking?
Carol Seifert. Thank you.
Carol, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a quick question I was trying to ask earlier, but like I said, I don't have a hand. I just waited. I am a grantee, and I'm a visual artist, and I wanted to I was wondering this time my last thing was an exhibition. This time I would like to go around the city and continue to do open air painting as my project. Is that possible?
Open air painting sounds to me like art or
Yes, it is. It better be art.
temporary. I'm sorry, not just art. I'm sorry, I had a brain
Yeah,
fart.
you know, the
temporary art, or
well, it would be like to break it down is when an artist sets up their easel and they paint scenes of various sites of Washington. What I do is paint various sites of the city. But in doing that process allows people who may not get a chance to go to a gallery or a museum, and those who may not understand the process of painting get a chance to firsthand to see it. It's a traditional, artists been doing it for, I'll say, over hundreds of years.
I understand. Well, we're gonna go in the breakout session. We could talk more then, or even if we need to have a one-on-one, we can connect together offline and about your specific, because it doesn't necessarily sound like a project or event. It may fall better in line with fellowship, but I'm happy to talk to you when we get into the breakout rooms and then even
The reason why I
offline.
said, reason why I said event, because in the past, like for the wharf, when they had their opening, they had me as one of the artists presenting, and they had me as an entertainer, and they had like musicians and they had painters just painting various sites. So that was considered an event. So that's why I asked. And I'm sorry to be rude, but like I said, I don't have an emoji and I don't know how to approach. Sorry, we're good.
Okay. So Roderick, you should have gotten somebody that says to go to the breakout room. So you should be able to click that to go into the breakout room. Let me know if you are not able to. Also for Robinson, because
Where's the breakout room at? I don't see anything on my system. You're gonna have to walk me through on that. I see chat, but I don't see, like I said, I don't see no emojis for hands or anything. And I have used this, not this particular system, but I had other meetings in the past. Anyway.
okay. So you should be able to see something. So do you see where it says chat? Yeah, yes, organizations stay here. There should be a little message that says breakout rooms, and you should be able to click on your own, or you should have gotten a pop-up message asking you to join a breakout room. So are you on your phone? Or are you on a computer or a tablet? Because it might look a little bit different for you. And I just want to make sure, are there any other individuals here that have not been transferred? You can put it in the chat. Okay, Judy Smith, okay.
Hello? Yes, I need to leave, so I'm going to jump off. I just wanted to let you guys know.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank y'all so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, everyone is
As I'm
ready.
getting messages, I'm also assigning. So just as a heads up on that.
Okay, because I'm like, where are people going? Okay,
Yeah,
just want to make sure.
Yeah, if you're for organizations, make sure you're staying here. If you're in individuals, if you haven't posted in the chat or raised your hand currently, please do that so that I can move you to the individuals.
Okay, I'm gonna wait for like 2 more minutes and then I will start.
There should be for Be More, there should be an option to join once you let me know if you want to be with the individuals. So are you wanting to be for individuals? So you'll have to choose one, unless you're in here multiple times. So if there's a preference, I would say lean more towards that.
I'll ask. This is Elisha Austin. I'm one of the guests that came from the Baltimore area, from the Maryland area. I wasn't sure which room I would apply for, but I work on multiple projects. But I will also be a representative as an individual, but also speaking for other projects also.
Right. Well, just as a heads up, because the breakout is going to talk more about organizations in here and the individuals in the other.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, so I will begin. Okay, thank you for waiting, everyone. So now we're going to the projects, events, and festivals eligibility for organizations. So for organizations may apply if they meet the following: be incorporated as a nonprofit with a federally designated tax-exempt status under Section 501(c)(3), dated at least 1 year prior to the application deadline date. Demonstrate that 100% of the project deliverables occur in DC. Register and comply with the regulatory requirements of the following agency: DCRA, OTR, DOES, and the IRS. You must be within so if you are a current grantee with CAH or have been a grantee, then you must be in good standing with the CAH. Have a active board of directors. be headquartered and have a principal office located in the District of Columbia, as demonstrated by the address on the organization's official IRS Form 990. Please note that the CAH does not allow post office PO boxes and the addresses of a board member or volunteer as evidence of the primary business address. Also, just to re-emphasize, oh, we already went through this slide. So also for the festival requirements specifically for organizations is festivals may apply if they meet the following. Anticipated festival numbers must align with the district mandated guidelines for public gatherings. Programming must comprise a minimum of 6 hours. Programs must be publicly advertised and open to the general public. The festival may not be a block party, fundraiser, or charity event. Funding may be used for project expense only, and all festival activities must comply with DC permits, policies, and safety requirements. So, the required document uploads for PEF-O is Certificate of Clean Hands, Statement of Certification, the IRS Form W-9, IRS 501c3 Letter of Determination, the Organizational Demographics Overview Form. The inclusion of this form is not required at the time of application, but may be required of each applicant prior to the award notification. The IRS 990, the most recently submitted, should contain signature of organization's representative and the tax preparer. Resumes of key personnel examples include artistic, managing, executive directors, art educators. They must provide roles, areas of responsibility, and home addresses. Panelists must be able to assess the skill level of the artists and administrators involved in the work to be created, exhibited, or taught. Also required is list of current board of directors, provide board roles, like for example, if they're the president, treasurer, responsibilities, and home addresses and wards. Also included in the required documents is the balance sheet of the most recently completed fiscal year, current organizational budget as approved by the organization's board of directors, profit and loss statement from the organization's most recent completed fiscal quarter. The certificate of liability insurance, which is general coverage, must be current, must include a waiver of subrogation naming DC government, and must include DC as their certificate holder. So the organization's financial picture, these required documents provide important context for the panel. Past would be the IRS 990 form for the most recently completed fiscal year. Some may not have the most recent one, so we'll have to use the one from the year before. Present is current organizational budget approved by your board of directors, and future is the project and program section should detail the projected costs of both for the upcoming year and the year of the grant award. So there are a few grant restrictions for PEF grantees. So organizations that have applied for the FY26 general operating support are prohibited from receiving FY26 project events and festival grants. If applying for general operating support, please check with your grant manager about the restrictions or requirements. The scope of work presented in a GOS application may not be duplicated by the project grant. So for the certificate of clean hands dated no more than 30 days prior to the application deadline, so you can apply on mytax.dc.gov, download a PDF of your certificate. If you were not able to obtain a certificate of clean hands by the grant application deadline, please contact a CAH grant manager for assistance. If you have a certificate of clean hands issued after April 2020, look for the notice date. It begins with L000. So again, you go on mytax.dc.gov, you click on validate a certificate of clean hands, you follow the prompts using your notice number and the last 4 digits of your IEN. Follow the prompts until your certificate appears. Right click and save your updated certificate as a PDF. So then go.
Lucy is chiming in. Magdalena, are you wanting to be in the individuals?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
Oop, hold on. Okay, sorry about that. So for for the statement of certification, you must fill in the organization's name, checkbox for 501c3. The complete address must spell out Washington, D.C., include the zip code, match the W-9 and the grant portal address, and then include the correct grant program and fiscal year. So for project events and festivals, you will put PEF-O. And a fillable PDF form is available at dcarts.dc.gov. And then and then also the certificate of certification, it is about 4 pages. So you just have to sign you just have to fill out the first page and then also the last page. Page 4, which which would be you would complete the highlighted areas at the bottom. The title is optional. The signature must be ink or verified e-signature, not a script font. A typed-in name or a signature-like font will be rejected. The information on this document must match the W-9 and grant application. The certificate of liability insurance. It is so the description of operations box should include the following language: the government of the District of Columbia and its officers, employees, agents, and volunteers are named as additional insured. Ask your insured to include or send a written waiver of subrogation against the government of the District of Columbia and its officers, employees, agents, volunteer, contractors, and subcontractors. Certificate holder box should include the District of Columbia, DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. Our address was just 200 I Street, Southeast, Washington, D.C., zip code 20003, suite 1800. And then attention to insert your grant manager's name. So it will be for Lucy Hernandez if it's for organizations. And then going on to the IRS 9 W-9 form. So you must use the most current version, which is the March 2024 version. The name should match the name in the CAH grants portal, the diffs, your diffs account, and any other application documents. Please check for correct box in section 3. So the address must be in the District of Columbia. It must match your address in the CAH grants portal, diffs, and other application documents. And then again, PO boxes are not accepted. And then for the section, so it's part 1, the taxpayer identification number, you will put in your IEN. And then for the signature, again, the signature must be ink, manual, or verified electronic with date stamp dated in 2025. No font script would be accepted. And again, please save your signed W-9 as a PDF. So just going on a little bit about the document tips that we have is the statement of certification. Do fill out a new statement for each grant application. Do not reuse an old file from a prior grant application. For the e-signature, investigate available tools for your organization. DocuSign, Adobe, and others have free e-sign tools. For the certificate of insurance, ask your grant manager for a sample of the Accord form that includes the necessary language and placement required by the District of Columbia. You can send it to your insurance representative to demonstrate exactly what you need. Then for the certificate of clean hands, your grant manager is required to check your organization status multiple times during the grant cycle. Please contact the Office of Taxation and Revenue at mytax.dc.gov if your status comes up as non-compliant. Please upload your documents as PDF. There are scanning apps, and the Notes app on iPhones allow you to scan and save images as a PDF. There are free online tools for converting JPEGs and other files into PDFs. So do we have any questions? I know that I ran through that a lot, so you can either raise your hand or put it in the chat as well. Okay, I'm gonna wait. Okay, somebody in the chat put, who or what is the best contact for your office to contact? So for project events and festivals specifically, if you're applying as an organization, the best contact would be me, Lucy Hernandez. I will put in my email in the chat. It is Lucy Hernandez, the number 1 at dc.gov. Please do not forget to put in the one after Hernandez, as it will not be sent to me. Okay, and then since there are no additional questions that I see, again, I just want to reiterate that we also have live chats with the CAH grant specialist. So our next upcoming one will be tomorrow from 2:30 to 3. I'm sorry, it'll be from 2 to 3. And I will be in that chat tomorrow, and also all the other grant managers who are that have grant applications open currently. So so I can send you the link to so somebody can send them the link within our website so that they're able to sign up.
It's in the chat.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, and then the CAH needs grants panelists. Grant panelists will be responsible for the following task: attend a virtual training or view training video, which is about 60 to 90 minutes of material, review assigned applications, work samples, evaluations thoroughly prior to attending a panel meeting, make objective assessments based on funding policies, grant guidelines, and application evaluation criteria. Decisions should be free of bias and not self-serving. Attend a day-long virtual panel meeting to review and rescore all assigned applications. So the CAH maintains a database to help identify and select panelists. Panelist applications information is only used for statistical and diversity inclusion purposes and is not shared with any third parties. Inclusion in this database does not guarantee selection for panel service. Selected panelists should have expertise gained through involvement in the arts and humanities. This includes but not limited to artists, art administrators, art educators, gallery professionals, curators, and art critics. So there is a time commitment. Those selected to serve on a review panel will have 3 to 4 weeks to review a maximum of 25 to 30 applications. The CAH estimates that the pre-panel review of applicants takes roughly 20 to 30 hours before the day of the panel. The review panel meetings generally last 4 to 7 hours with breaks and currently take place online via video conference software unless otherwise noted. Panelists are appointed to one panel per year for a maximum of 3 consecutive years. So there is some compensation. Panelists will receive a $250 gift card. I also want to say a little bit more about the panelists. So if you are currently applying for the PEF organizational grant, you can still panel. You can become a panelist for the individual section and also for any of the current open grant applications as well. And also, I just want to reiterate that the application closes April 22nd at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Incomplete or late applications or applications that do not follow instructions and guidelines may be deemed ineligible for review and funding. Prospective applicants should read through the request for applications, also known as a RFA, completely before submitting application. Applicants must be up to date with reporting requirements for prior CAH grants. If you're not sure of your reporting status, contact a CAH grant manager. Applications are reviewed and scored by a panel of artist professionals, and award amounts may vary. Do we have any other questions? Okay, we have no other questions. The CAH grant staff are available to review your PEF application materials for compliance and completion up to 1 week prior. to the deadline. So that will be April 15th, and that is a Friday. And then for the contacts for this specific grant would be me for organizations, Tanya Myers for individuals, and also Danielle Hope for individuals. Our office hours is from 9 to 5:30 p.m. And thank you for joining today. Please check your email for a follow-up survey. Your input will help us improve our workshops. Thank you. Oh, I see a question. Oh, there was no question. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, please let me know. I'll stay here for a little bit. But if not, I hope everyone has a wonderful day.